Hello. No matter what stage you're at in what journey you're on, if you're here in the earth realm, it's some sort of limitation manipulation or limitation management. That's what you're doing. You're managing your limitations, seeing as the humans are the masters of limitation, as we've discussed earlier. So, as you hop onto the spiritual path, the enlightenment path, the knowledge path, hopefully the compassion path, if you like helping other people, if you like having consideration for others. As you hop on that one, you will find that some of your previously held limitations are no longer viable for you. And you'll find that those ones will start dropping off, but you will also find that at the same time those are dropping off, some new ones are coming in to take their place. Maybe your new limitation is called freedom. You know? So for myself personally, I find it important to every once in a while just take a looky-loo into what kind of limitations I've been managing lately. What does my limitation portfolio look like? I know for a lot of us, we have a double layered limitation with regards to money, and I don't know if I'm gonna characterize this correctly, but I would say the first actual limitation is the fact of money itself and hoops that it makes us go through in order to acquire it. And then the secondary limitation is our internal reaction to the fact of money. So how we position ourselves emotionally to the fact of money. Whether we see it as a neutral force, or whether we see it as the devil itself, or whether we see it as a good tool that helps facilitate energy exchange, or whatever other way you want to look at it. Whether you see it as a method for sneaky little middlemen to come swooping in and pull out their 0.5 to 3 to 7 to 8 to 50%. And just to realize and know that your current limitation filter set that you have regarding the umbrella of money as a whole is not solid. If you could apply that concept to all of your limitations, then you would be you'd be more clear about it. Clear observing, to me, is the most important. It's the most important aspect of what I have available to myself, is clear observation of whatever comes through. And if I have myself become sick in a sense with regards to a certain concept, then it's important for me to be able to look into that and see it for what it is, see my posturing and positioning in relation to that for what it is. You can do this with all of the major cognitive worldviews that you hold. You can do it very simply. Having established a center and a meditative state, for me, is very important in order to be able to do that. That's why I continually say meditate, or I say that the whole life is a meditation once you've figured out what meditation actually is. But if you take a moment and consider all of the major mental facets that kind of guide our movement through the realm, you will see that they have changed and morphed over time depending on where you're at in your life. To name a few, it would be, I suppose the top two would be money and relationships, which are also linked as well. Relationships being the top one, really. Relationships, money, and then perhaps spiritual practice as the third tier. And then everything else will come after that. Eating habits, time allocation, what you're devoting your time to, whether it be structured or not. Future stuff, if you're doing any planning, if you're doing the kind of set it and forget it type of planning like I do, if you write everything out and then judge yourself on whether you're achieving those things. There's a whole bunch more. There are tons of them, and they're all mental conceptions. Every single one of them is mental conceptions. The whole life is a mental conception. And it's all fluid. And you can change at any point. But there's an important caveat to realize that comes along with that. And especially this is important to take note of if you're attempting at manifesting something in your life. You have to realize that anytime you start breaking from a previously established path, whether it be conscious or not, there's gonna be blowback. It's gonna suck. I can't say it any other way. It's gonna be terrible. Because I don't care what kind of human you are, we like having familiarity. That's probably the number one thing that we like. And if somehow we get brave enough to venture off the path of familiarity, and do something exciting and dangerous, we still need a familiar base to fall back on if shit goes south, when shit hits the fan, or when the snafu has occurred. Situation normal, all fucked up. When that occurs, we need some familiar baseline to return to. Otherwise, you're a literal living embodiment of what chaos is. And that's not very fun. It's an experience, but to be living in constant unease, not for me anyway. I don't enjoy it. So to take time to examine your belief structure, because it's there, you still have one. That even if you think that you've unshackled yourself from all of it, you haven't. You have simply done a reorg, as the business people call it. And look into it. Just look into it, find out what your new position is with regards to these things, find out if it's helpful for you or not. And if not, the simple acknowledgement of that fact, that internal fact for you, will start the gears in motion in order to change that to what is more proper. If your new conception of money is now, money is the devil and it's representative of all evil, okay, if you're holding that as your main money conceptualization on the money morality internal scale, you're going to create stress and problems surrounding all money interactions, because whether or not you're consciously thinking that every time you have a money transaction happen, internally, because this belief is held subconsciously, you're gonna be creating some level of angst within every time you have a money transaction, because you know you're doing the devil's work. You know, and you'll have to be posturing around that belief system that you've developed. You'll have to be rationalizing why you're doing the devil's work to yourself. And trust me, this happens whether you're aware of it or not. We always rationalize everything that we do. But it's better to be aware of it than to be blindly running along and not realizing all the subconscious processes that are keeping us going. Okay. Drugs are bad. Okay.